Labour are delaying more elections. Nearly 10 million people won't have the right to vote until 2027. I'm sorry, but are we being run by Kim Jong-un?
대 같은 믿음과 사랑으로 우리 무력을 사상 정신과
Or what about Vladimir Putin? Anybody? See, it works less well, that, because that actually could just be Keir Starmer, couldn't it? But I assure you that behind Keir Starmer's face is Vladimir Putin. But anyway, there you go. This important interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your money and your identity. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code here to get ExpressVPN right now and save up to 73% on annual plans today. Right, let's get back into it. Anyway, look, we all know what's going on, don't we? Labour and the Tories are in the toilet, so reform is on the charge. So Labour has asked the Tories if they'd like to delay local elections and the mayoral elections, and both of them have said yes. So 63 local councils will probably have their elections delayed. Local elections in places like Suffolk, East and West Sussex, and Sussex, Essex, sorry, all the X's. And anyway, they've been put back once, but if the elections are delayed again in any of those areas, it will mean that some councillors will have a seat for 7 years without facing local voters, which is a bit mad, isn't it? Let's just imagine for a second that Reform had won the last general election. And then since then, we had a huge expenses scandal, loads of ludicrous freebies, a homelessness minister that resigned because she wanted to evict her tenants, a corruption minister found guilty of corruption in a foreign country, a deputy prime minister who went over unpaid tax, a chancellor who forgot to get a landlord's licence, the scrapping of jury trials, 30 arrests for social media posts every single day, Orwellian lies on a near-daily basis, a new law saying what you can and can't see online, and policies deliberately targeting sections of society that don't vote for them. In this case, private school parents and pensioners. Oh, and then they cancelled elections for 10 million people. But they did introduce votes for 16-year-old kids to try to ensure that they stayed in power whenever there are elections. Would we not really be saying that this is a little bit dictatory? You don't think? Right, but of course, it's Labour, isn't it? It's Labour, so people aren't hysterical in the streets telling us, oh, Nigel Farage is a fascist dictator. The amount of times you hear this is straight out of the fascist playbook. That's what they always say, isn't it? But no, it's Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party. It's Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party. They've got a red rosette on, so it's absolutely fine. Now, I don't know about you, but I am starting to wonder what they taught Sir Keir Starmer at that Czechoslovakian work camp during the Cold War. You know, where he just went off when he was about 16 years old, like a normal lad. We all went there, didn't we? We all went there. I remember I couldn't wait to go to Magaluf, right? I was there, sunny beach in Bulgaria. He goes, Keir, where are you off to with that rucksack? I'm just off to a Czechoslovakian work camp. Fantastic. Brilliant. Brilliant. Is he behaving a bit like a dictator? Let's get the views of my panel and no doubt people in the audience as well. Christo.
Sorry, I got really excited there during your monologue because you were doing your left-wing voice.
I was, yeah.
I love your left-wing.
Oh, straight out of the fascist playbook.
You actually are sounding more and more like Zach Polanski when you do that. You know that, don't you?
Oh, well, I've got a different dentist. Anyway, can I go straight away to the lady on the front row? Is that all right? Because, Yvonne, for the second time this evening, after coming second in our present rapping competition, I believe you are affected, are you, by some of these lack of votes and lack of elections?
Yeah, exactly, I am. So I'm living in Hampshire, I'm on the West Sussex border, and I haven't been able to vote once, and I haven't been able to vote again. So this is the second time around as such, and I'd like to know why you think this is right. You can put a man on the moon, which is a massive thing to do, and yet you can't sort this little tiny thing out of getting people to vote.
It's almost like they don't want to, Yvonne, isn't it?
Well, it's blatantly obvious. It's blatantly obvious to me, and I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box.
I don't know. Saw the way you attacked that box earlier on with the wrapping paper.
I like the word attacked.
Yeah. Well, go on, what do you think?
I love, Yvonne, that your last point of reference for anything that actually worked was when someone went to the moon. Yeah. It's like the last time that anything worked in this country. It's outrageous. It's absolutely, completely and utterly outrageous. 7 years without being able to have your say. It's the one day when all of us actually have our say, have like the complete power. And it's the day they most fear, clearly, because of that. Everything leads to that day. And so for that day to be taken away, and of course, they're saying it's because they have to amalgamate all of these authorities, and some of these local authorities, they're going to, consolidate them and make them bigger, and they haven't done it in time. Well, I'll tell you what then, delay it, do the elections as the authorities are now, and then you've got however many more years to then sort it out. You must have done some of the work already. There will be workarounds for this that could have made it happen. And they're deliberately not doing it because they are deliberately denying you the right to have your say. It's like after everything you listed, all the gaslighting, the lies, everything else, it is outrageous.
I didn't know people cared so much about parish councillors as to think it's the biggest thing in their lives. This is
the principle. It's the principle.
If you're listening on the radio, that sound is the scraping of the barrel. What this is...
Don't put yourself down.
What this is trying to restructure local authorities because there's loads of overlaps, there's loads of waste, there's too many politicians at this level, and if you're going to fix that, you have to obviously restructure it to have elections in the new structure. What would be the point in electing, as you just suggested, hundreds, presumably thousands of people that will exist in authority that is going to disappear and not have any power? What a waste of public money.
Let's go, James.
The point is, because that's where our
you did it as well, by the way.
That's
the Tories did it.
Yeah, and I think it's the Tories did it during the pandemic, and I still think actually that was a mistake to do, and there are other ways to get around it. We stopped having elections during the Second World War, and within weeks of it being over, there was an election called, even though we had troops stationed all around the world, we did vote. Hang on, we did. We're talking about 80 odd years ago now. We did voting over several different days, and it had to be tricky because some people had to go and work on farms and go different days. And they said, you know what, even though we've lost 500,000 men and all the rest of it around the world, we managed to do this. We managed to put it all together, because it's not just the principle, it's much more important than that. There is a fundamental lack of legitimacy when you don't have regular elections that puts us on the same parallel as these awful dictators that you've been talking about. Also, a lot of important things for people's lives. Social care is done at these levels, getting your roads fixed, getting all these things are done at these levels, and this is Labour have chosen to do these reorganisations.
That's the point. Why are we spending
totally unnecessarily?
Why are we spending money on thousands of extra local councillors and not social care? That's the whole point.
There's nothing more important than keeping your money and your identity safe online. And with so many VPN options available, choosing the right one can be pretty daunting. But this video's sponsor, ExpressVPN, is making the choice easier for GB News viewers. ExpressVPN is offering up to 73% off, plus 4 extra months free. That's top-level security from just £2.49 a month, and you're covered by their 30-day money-back guarantee. So just click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code now. Remember, when you're online, you are often sharing personal data, so hackers can steal your information, your passwords, your photos, and your bank details in just seconds. But ExpressVPN encrypts your connection, making it virtually impossible for hackers to access your personal information. So why choose ExpressVPN? Well, it couldn't be easier to use. With just one click, you are protected. And ExpressVPN uses military-grade AES 256 encryption, which is the same standard trusted by the US government to guard their classified information. With their new tiered plans, you can protect up to 14 devices at once and manage passwords securely. Live chat support is available 24/7, and it typically connects you in under a minute with a real person. Click the link in this video's description or scan the QR code to get up to 73% off ExpressVPN, plus 4 extra months free. Start protecting yourself today with ExpressVPN.
The point is that we're going to have some change, we're going to have some restructuring. But it should be fairly straightforward about how we do this, if indeed we can land a man on the moon and we can do other complicated things. Why can't we do this properly? In no other area of life would this be happening. You wouldn't find your heart surgeon saying, I can't operate today because I've got a bit of a tremor, or, you know...
I'd hope you would.
Probably be on strike, in fairness.
He would. Hospitals work OK under duress, whatever people say. Corporates work OK under duress when they restructure, when they go through change management. That all works.
So you're saying we should elect a load of people?
Well, can I just say on this as well, where the argument
it's
slightly
democracy.
falls down, is because now the government is asking the councils if they're... So it's not like they've got an independent auditor who's gone in and gone, sorry, your council is not ready to have elections, we can't do this. They're asking the councillors themselves, and those councillors in a lot of these seats are about to lose their jobs. So they're going, no, I'm just going to cling on for another couple of years. I mean, it's pretty shoddy stuff.
And that independent auditor that you mentioned, the Electoral Commission, has come out and criticised all of this and said that all the reasons for reorganisation are not good enough and the election should go ahead.
Well, can we the broader point here, because I don't want to get too bogged down in the weeds of local council elections, because it is important to people. I don't want to diminish that. But it's more, for me, it's about the double standard, because you've got people here who are cancelling elections for 10 million people. You've got all the other stuff that I just rattled off there. And if the Conservatives had done that, but I think definitely if Reform...
They did do that.
Yeah, but
they literally did.
They did bits of it. But if Reform did that, I mean, if Nigel Farage came into power and within the first 18 months had cancelled elections for 10 million people and done all of the other stuff that I rattled off, had a massive freebies and expenses scandal, lost a load of ministers, in some cases over corruption allegations and all of this stuff, which they deny, or well, in Bangladesh they've been found guilty of it, all of that stuff, it would be straight out of the fascist playbook, wouldn't it?
That is actually fascism. I mean, fascism gets thrown around right, left and centre. That is actually fascism.
Restructuring a parish councillor isn't fascism, mate.
Stop calling it.
It's about democracy.
And also, can I just point out parish councils in order to diminish the fact that it's actual local authorities?
Because you're acting like it's life and death.
Yeah, I think that's unfair, Benjamin.
Secondly, was there anything on your bingo card tonight that thought that you would be arguing against democracy? Did you actually think that?
I tell you what,
Nigel Farage the left of sung.
Nigel Farage probably would do that because the man lets zero Reform members vote on who should be in charge of that party.
Amazingly, so if you have Nigel Farage for this,
if you have a problem with democracy, then you should ask Farage why it's a private company and not a political party. Where's the democracy in that?
Digression.
A man that throws Rupert Lowe out of the party without a single vote cast. I think that is anti-democratic.
The fact of the matter is, there's no point in demeaning parish councils or local councils because people care about that kind of stuff. They care about what the hang on, I have not finished. So they care about that kind of stuff. They care about that kind of stuff. And in specific terms they care, but also they care about democracy. No one said democracy was easy when things had to be changed around a bit. We think it's difficult. We think democracy is difficult, but we value it, so we make it work.
All right, well done. Right, there was also, I've seen that look before, and I'm going to go back to Yvonne in a second, because I want to know if you're satisfied with what you've heard in terms of your question. I suspect you're not, but there's a gentleman at the back who felt so angry, Benjamin, as you were talking, that he waved at me, he said, I've got to speak. Go on, sir, what would you like to say?
Well, I'm a parish councillor. And we all do it for volunteers. Like, basically, I get nothing from it. So I do it from my own heart, basically. Disrupts all my family, everything. So with the reorganisation...
Keep that mic close to you, mate. Keep the mic close.
Sorry. With the reorganisation, my question would be, how much cost has been spent so far?
Well, the whole point of doing it is to stop doubling up in the areas affected, where you've got twice as many people doing the job. So it's to save money. Now, obviously, as was pointed out, if you restructure a business, it costs money to do that. But if you then spend half the money for 20 years, it's a saving.
What a shame we spend so much on Erasmus and all that nonsense.
Let's hear him. Go on. Yeah.
The one question, what money wasted? Nottingham City Council so far spent £1.2 million on on the cost of getting advisors to basically look at the whole board.
And you do it out of the goodness of your own heart.
Exactly,
You don't make a penny out of it, really. You just do it. And just go on just quickly, because you did say then that it does affect your family life a little bit. So in what way? For what you do?
Well, my children go to school. So basically, if, like, in our village at Bilstor, we're looking at having a new village hall. So some of the kids will pick on my kids, because obviously I've got decisions to make with the new village hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So it does have an impact. So a lot of people will say, I don't need that in my life. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to carry on with my job. So thank you for everything that you do. Seriously.
Yeah. Then that's just a little parish council. It's almost irrelevant. What's the point of the democracy? I mean, can you say that to this gentleman over there? Now, say that to his face. Go on.
I never said it I I said
just
that,
a parish council.
I said that the suggestion of restructuring it so that it's 2 years delayed being fascism is patently absurd.
Why do you think they're delaying it, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
They are frightened of Nigel Farage. That is the whole thing. And the whole reform. I mean,
And it's not going to work either, because it's such a powerful campaigning device for Farage and Reform to be able to use, to say, look, they're running for it, but don't worry, our day will come, just keep the faith, hold the line, all these sorts of things. It's going to totally backfire when it gets translated into a general election at this rate.
So I'm just sorry, just to come back to you, just to round us off, because you asked the original question or made the original point on this about where you... So what are you satisfied with what you've seen?
You said Klingons.
Right.
And these are what they had in Star Trek, Klingons. You can't get rid of them. Terrible. And there's another version of that, but we won't go into that. But be very careful, Benjamin. Don't belittle people. We are just little people, and to have your liberty taken away and to have a vote taken away is a major thing.
But, okay,
we're all very little people.
There's such a hypocrisy, because we had a general election last year, and then within months, hundreds of thousands of hard-right people were saying, I demand a new general election because I signed a petition. That's anti-democratic. And yet I bet there's very few people here in the audience that had a problem with that. So I think there's a double standard here. And when did right-wingers of all people start saying we should spend more money on bureaucracy and politicians at all levels of government?
I think that's a very dubious argument.
Yeah, I mean, you said about the barrel scraping. I mean, my God, you've got splinters now.
I mean, you hand out a survey or referendum, whatever, and people sign it, and there's, tens of thousands of people, and they think, because they don't really understand the ins and outs of politics, they might stand a chance of a general election. You can't blame them for thinking that.
But it's not, again, because it's not just about these elections, which are important. It's things like the scrapping of jewellery trials, things like about the Online Safety Act. There are things that we cover on here on GB News that if I try to access it on X, it won't let me in England.
What are you trying to access?
My own monologues. They are deemed to be that beyond the pale sometimes. The X goes, oh no, you've contravened the Online Safety Act. I did one about a migrant camp, RAF Wethersfield, where they'd been defecating around the place, and X decided that it was the public shouldn't know about that. I think you've got a right to know if they're kicking off and fighting each other and committing crimes.
So Yvonne said something so important there. She talked about her liberty being deprived. And that seems to be so often in Britain today, to be just a kind of nice to have. And when I was in government and I was dealing with some of the things about COVID, I was the only person in some of these rooms in the Department for Education saying, what about people's liberty? What about their freedom? What about the right of children not to have to wear masks all day, even sat down? And I said that in a meeting, and people looked at me like I'd insulted their mums. But liberty is not a nice to have. It is an absolute fundament of our society. Without that, we have nothing. And that's the point about democracy. And I think the point about jury trials as well, that is something we've had in this country since the year 900 and something, with Ethelred the Unready. And actually the idea goes back all the way 2,500 years to ancient Athens. That is a fundamental liberty of Western civilization. And the way that David Lammy and Keir Starmer treat this like it doesn't matter at all is utterly damning, and history will damn them on this.
And they flip-flop around on the whole subject.
Wow. All right, we're going to have to go.
That's why it's a little bit different to the petition you compared it to, Ben.
Oh, OK. All right, well, there we go. Well, thank you very much, everybody.